The fire fell from the sky. It started with a clear morning over New London. Children were walking to school, traders opened their shops, and soldiers trained at bases. No one expected what came next. A bright flash appeared in the sky, then another, and another. From orbit, alien bombs dropped with deadly precision. Buildings vanished in seconds. Screams filled the air. Military defense systems activated, but they were slow. Too slow. The sky turned orange as shockwaves shattered glass and sent people running in panic. Captain Mara stood on the rooftop of her outpost, watching the burning horizon. Her radio screamed with static and broken words. Unknown ships. Direct strike. Heavy civilian losses. She clenched her fists. Who would dare bomb Earth? A small screen in front of her lit up. A message blinked. This is High Command. Enemy ID. Varnak Empire. Targets. Earth and core colonies. Prepare for response. Mara's heart dropped. The Varnak. An alien race known for their strict rule and brutal attacks. But they had never dared come near Earth before. Not until now. They just made the biggest mistake of their lives, she whispered. Elsewhere in orbit, high above Earth, in the command bridge of the Terran Defense Network, Commander Joel stood still as reports came in from every continent. Cities were gone, civilian death count rising, and worst of all, Varnak ships were already retreating. They hit and ran, his second officer said. They didn't even stay to fight. Joel's face hardened. They wanted to send a message. What message? That Earth is weak. He turned toward the center of the room and spoke into the wide comms array. Get me the Black Fleet. All of it. The room fell silent. Deep in the mountains miles beneath the rocky zone, a hidden bunker opened. Metal doors that hadn't moved in years now hissed apart. Inside sat a fleet not seen by the galaxy in decades, Earth's last resort. Weapon, the Black Fleet. Each ship in the fleet was built for one purpose: end wars, not win them. Unmatched speed, unbreakable armor, firepower to turn moons into ash. They weren't for defense. They were made for revenge. Technicians rushed to awaken systems. Soldiers ran to suit up. Old commanders stepped out of cryosleep, eyes burning. With cold memory. One voice echoed through the hangar. The time has come. Let them feel what happens when you strike Earth first. Back on Earth, at a relief center, Lena, a young medic, wiped the blood from her hands. Her white uniform was now red and gray, stained by smoke and lives she couldn't save. Next to her, a boy cried for his parents. They were gone just like his home. She gave the boy a protein bar and gently sat beside him. You're safe now. We'll protect you. He looked up, eyes full of fear and pain. Why did they hurt us? Lena didn't answer. She couldn't. There was no reason. No mercy in that attack. But there would be a reply. A message sent hours later. Earth's reply was prepared. Not words. Not threats. A drone ship was launched, carrying a recording. It would reach the Varnak capital in 2 days. The message it held was simple. A human general appeared on screen. His face calm, his voice ice. To the leaders of the Varnak Empire. You struck Earth. You killed civilians. You declared war without warning. You must have thought we would fall. You were wrong. You will now witness the fury of a planet born in fire. We are not coming to talk. We are coming to end this. The message ended. The galaxy didn't yet know it. But war had already begun. Not just a war of ships or weapons, but a war of survival. And Earth had just taken off its gloves. Asterisk the Black. Fleet rises. The Black Fleet had not been seen in over 50 years. Most people thought it was a myth, a story told by veterans and war historians. But now, deep in Earth's forgotten mountain bunkers, the war machines were waking up. Commander Joel stood inside the command center, looking at a giant screen that displayed all the fleet's vessels, 37 warships, 3 dreadnoughts, 1 classified unit only known as Aegis 1. Status report. He said. His officer replied, 78% combat ready. Aegis 1 is still warming up. All crews reporting in. Orders? Joel took a breath and gave a single word. Launch. The sky darkens above Earth. Giant silvery blue ships rose through the atmosphere. Their shapes were sharp, dark, and silent nothing. Like the colorful civilian transports that filled the skies in peaceful times. Each ship was black as night and marked only by a small Earth insignia. No names, no warnings, only firepower. People across the world stopped what they were doing and stared. Some cried. Some whispered prayers. Others watched in silence as the warships vanished into space. They're not just going to fight. A mother said to her child, they're going to end it. Varnak capital. 2 days later, the Varnak homeworld Uthvar was a place of glowing towers and endless luxury. Their high council sat on golden chairs and laughed when they received the Terran message. One counselor chuckled. They think a single speech will scare us? Another replied, let them come. Let's see how far Earth's little warriors can get. But their laughter faded when a transmission arrived from the edge of their outer defense grid. A fleet had entered their space. 37 unidentified. Vessels. No response to hails. Moving fast. Then came the second message, just 2 words. We're here. The first strike, the outer defense station exploded in seconds. One moment it stood, filled with guards and radar officers. The next, it was a glowing cloud of metal and flame. The Black Fleet didn't pause. It moved like a blade, slicing through space. Ships that had guarded Varnak's borders for decades were destroyed before they could aim. The Terran ships used weapons never seen before, pulse cannons that bent around shields, torpedoes that split into dozens of microbombs, and hacking drones that turned enemy systems into empty shells. The Varnak defenders had no answer. Inside Aegis 1, deep inside, the largest ship of the fleet, known only as Aegis 1, Captain Mara stood at the center of a dark metal room. She wasn't like the other officers. She had seen war before. She had lost a brother in the last alien invasion. And she had sworn, if the day came again, she would. Be ready. She gave her team one look and spoke. This is not a fight. This is our message. Earth will not be broken. The ship's massive railguns spun into position, aimed at the Varnak colony world of Drenos 2. Fire. No place to hide. The colony planet was not a military zone. It had factories, storage silos, and command posts, but no fleets to defend. The railgun's payload was not a bomb. It was a kinetic spear, pure metal, traveling at speeds faster than thought. It struck the ground like a god's hammer. Half the command post disappeared. Buildings melted. A shockwave flattened everything. In a 2-mile radius, no biological weapons. No poisons. No torture. Just silence and destruction. Galactic response across the galaxy. Hundreds of species received the broadcast. Earth has responded. Some were terrified. Others watched with quiet respect. A few leaders sent messages to Earth, offering support or begging Earth to stop. But it was too late for that. The Terran war machine had awakened. And it wasn't slowing down. Panic in the Council. The Varnak Council chamber, once filled with pride and confidence, now echoed with fear. Screens around the room showed disaster. Outposts burned. Warships vanished. Drenos 2, their main supply. World was gone. Not just damaged, but erased. One counselor shouted, "This is not war, it's extermination." Another hissed, "They're not talking. They're not negotiating. They're just wiping us out." High Lord Valen, the leader of the council, slammed a clawed hand on the table. "You bombed their cities. What did you think would happen? A letter of apology? Silence followed. Everyone in the room realized something. They hadn't just awakened a powerful enemy. They had awakened an enemy with nothing to lose. Humanity remembers back on Earth. The damage was still fresh, entire. Neighborhoods in New London and New Lagos were flattened. Hundreds of thousands were dead. Rescue workers dug through rubble. Fires still burned underground. But Earth was not broken. News feeds showed images of alien ships burning in space. Human children raised their fists. Survivors gathered around outdoor screens, watching the Black Fleet's advance with grim hope. Didn't start this, a reporter said on air, but we will finish it. Inside the Black Fleet aboard the Terran warship Stormpiercer, Commander Joel stood over a tactical map. Red dots showed Varnak supply routes. Yellow ones were backup. Fleet's moving too late. Target the fuel depots first, he said. Let them feel starvation before fire. His second-in-command, Mira, nodded. Sir, there's a civilian transport hub near the depot. Should we avoid it? Joel didn't hesitate. No. If they let their civilians hide behind military assets, that's on them. It was harsh, but Earth had bled. And now, the gloves were off. A personal war captain, Mara, inside Aegis I, watched an old video in her quarters. Her brother Finn, cheerful, wearing a mechanic's suit, was laughing in. A small workshop. The screen glitched. Then the laughter turned to static. He had died in the last Varnik border attack, 20 years ago. The council never admitted it, never apologized. They said it was a misunderstanding. Mara's eyes were hard now. No, more misunderstandings. She stood, straightened her uniform, and walked back to the bridge. Her ship's next target was a Varnak moon base one known for testing human prisoners. This time, there would be no survivors. The moon base falls. The moon base hung above a cold gas planet. Once a research station, it had become a dark place where human prisoners were dissected and tortured for study. Asterisk. But the Varnak guards didn't have time to prepare. Aegis I dropped in from light speed with no warning. It opened fire instantly. One by one, towers collapsed. Docks exploded. Escape shuttles were hit mid-launch. Mara gave the final order. Glass. A wall of flame swallowed the base. Cameras on human ships recorded the destruction. The footage was sent to Earth, to the families who had lost loved ones inside. They watched. They wept. And they nodded. A signal in the dark. Just as the Black Fleet prepared to move deeper into enemy space, a strange signal came through. It wasn't Varnik. It wasn't friendly. But it wasn't hostile either. It was a warning. Humans, stop. You're heading into ancient ground. If you continue, you won't just fight the Varnik, you'll awaken something worse. The message cut out. No source. No trace. Commander Joel narrowed his eyes. Do we halt? Mira asked. Joel shook his head. No, we warned them. Now we finish it. The war changes shape. The Varnak had underestimated Earth. They believed Earth would crumble under pressure, would beg for mercy. Instead, Earth stood up, bled, and became something stronger. And now, the Black Fleet wasn't just striking back. It was marching toward the heart of the Varnik Empire. But in the shadows of deep space, something ancient stirred, and it had been watching humanity for a long time. Asterisk. The heart of fire. The Black Fleet pushed deeper into Varnak space. Every time the Varnak sent a defense, it fell. Every trap was broken. Every ambush turned into a graveyard. Humanity wasn't just responding. They were teaching a lesson. On the bridge of Stormpiercer, Commander Joel watched holograms flicker with enemy fleet positions. His voice was cold. Next target? His officer replied, the core system. Varnik Prime is within range. Joel nodded. Good. Bring the fury. The Varnic Prime Panic Varnic Prime had never seen war on its soil. Its skies were blue and peaceful. Its people had grown fat on power, believing no enemy could ever reach them. Now alarms screamed through every city. Shields activated for the first time in centuries. Emergency bunkers filled with citizens. Leaders who once mocked Earth now begged for more ships. The military commanders stood in front of the council, ashamed. We didn't think they'd come this far. High Lord Valen shouted, they weren't supposed to survive. It was only a test strike. Then you failed the test, a voice said. Everyone turned. A shadow stepped into the hall. Tall, thin, and covered in ancient armor. It was one of the elders, beings older than the Varnic Empire itself. You didn't just wake the humans, the elder growled. You poked the fire that forges monsters. Meanwhile, in deep space, Captain Mara stood at the front of Aegis 1, staring into the stars. Her ship had broken through 3 defense lines. 2 more remained between them and Varnic Prime. But something strange kept happening. Sensors would blink. Shadows passed near the fleet, but nothing appeared on radar. Ghost signals, echoes, glitches that engineers couldn't explain. Something's following us, she whispered. One of her officers said, Varnic stealth craft? Mara shook her head. No, something older. A hidden weapon as the fleet approached the Varnic system. Joel received a secret transmission from Earth's Defense Corps. It was locked under highest clearance. He read it once, then twice. His face grew pale. Myra stepped close. What is it? He looked at her. There's another ship. A forgotten one. Buried on the far side of Jupiter. A ship? More like a weapon. Built in case Earth ever needed to erase. A star. Myra's mouth opened slightly. Does it still work? Joel's voice was low. Only one way to find out. He sent the activation code. Far from Earth, beneath ice and rock, something woke up. Back on Varnic Prime, people ran through the streets. Soldiers stood on rooftops, holding old plasma rifles. Families hid in their homes, waiting for the sky to fall. It did. The first blast came from orbit. Not a missile, but a sonic quake. Buildings shattered from vibration alone. Communication. Towers collapsed. Shields flickered, then died. Then the fleet arrived, Aegis, 1 leading, followed by Stormpiercer and 20 smaller destroyers. One of the Varnic generals whispered, This is extinction. High Lord Valen stood frozen in front of a burning window. We bombed the city, he said to himself, trembling, and they brought the end of days. Mercy denied. Captain Mara's screen filled with surrender messages. Varnic begged, pleaded, offered gold, land, technology. She leaned forward. Did you offer mercy when you dropped fire on Earth schools? Did you stop when children screamed? The enemy voice replied weakly, That wasn't personal. Mara's reply was cold. Neither is this. She pressed the final command. The orbital railguns fired one after another. But in the void, far away, near the edge of the galaxy, something watched. It wasn't Varnic. It wasn't human. It was ancient, silent, forgotten. But now it stirred, eyes glowing with curiosity, not because of the destruction, but because of humanity's fury, the fire that had been hidden behind kindness. And the stars themselves began to whisper. They may be the last species we ever need to fear. Earth's final answer, the sky over Varnic. Prime was no longer blue. It burned red, now lit by the engines of Terran warships and the fires below. The once great cities were reduced to rubble. Statues of Varnic war heroes lay in pieces. Commander Joel stood on the bridge of Stormpiercer, silent. Around him, crew members worked, but their faces showed no joy. This wasn't a victory to celebrate. Transmission from Earth, sir, Mira said softly. The prototype weapon is online. Joel nodded. Is it ready to fire? Yes. But there's a problem. She tapped the screen, and a warning appeared. Unknown interference detected in system core. Signal origin, non-Varnak. Unknown intent. Joel stared at it. Something else is out there. A whisper in the system across every Terran ship. Strange things began to happen. AI units glitched. Lights flickered. Doors opened and closed on their own. Battle maps rewrote themselves. A symbol none of them recognized began to flash an old spiral, surrounded by broken stars. Captain Mara aboard Aegis 1 narrowed her eyes. This isn't Varnak tech. She turned to her engineer. What does that symbol mean? He shook. His head. It's not in any database. Not human. Not even alien records. Then a message appeared on every screen. You are not the first to burn a world. But you may be the last. Unknown contact back on Earth. High above the Terran security tower, a massive portal flickered into being. Nothing came through. Just a long, slow hum like a deep breath being held in space. The Black Fleet received a signal from Earth's top. Command, stand by. Possible third-party interference. Unknown entity may be observing the war. Joel took a deep breath. We've come this far. If it wants to speak, let it. But the entity didn't speak with words. It showed images. Visions. From the void every human captain suddenly saw flashes. A dying planet wrapped in flames. A fleet larger than anything humanity had ever imagined, ripped apart in a second. A single star going dark. Not from age, but from something feeding on it. Captain Mara gripped the railing. Her chest tightened. It wasn't just war, this being. New. It was destruction on a level no species had ever survived. And yet, in the middle of it all, it showed one final image. A Terran child handing food to a wounded alien. The message was clear. You burn. You build. You care. You destroy. You are not like the others. But you are close. A choice before fire. The entity's presence faded. The Terran fleet, now orbiting Varnak Prime, waited for the final order. The prototype weapon code named Judgment. Spear was aimed at the Varnak's ocean core, a shot designed to rupture tectonics and shatter the planet within hours. Joel looked at the countdown screen. Mara? She answered from Aegis 1. Online, ready. He paused. Then a message arrived. This time from the Varnak people, not their leaders. They broadcast live, unfiltered, civilians, children, workers, begging not for peace, but for forgiveness. The decision. Joel sat still for a long time. The whole fleet waited for his order. Finally, he said, Disable Judgment Spear. Mira blinked. Sir? He turned to her. We've made our point. The Empire is broken. The leaders are gone. But we're not monsters. That's what separates us. Understood, Myra whispered. He opened a channel to every ship in the fleet. This is Commander Joel of Earth. The Varnak Empire bombed. Our home. We struck back, not with fear but with fury. But let this be the end. Not because they deserve it, but because we do. Back on Earth, people watched the message. Some cried. Some screamed, wanting revenge, but most understood. Humanity hadn't just shown its strength. It had shown restraint, something the Varnak never expected. And across the stars, other species watched in silence, not just afraid of Earth, but beginning to respect it. Asterisk. A new kind of fear. The war was over. Varnak Prime remained intact, though scarred. Its leaders were gone, its fleet shattered, and its cities humbled. Earth's fleet didn't leave behind rubble. They left behind a warning. Yet across the stars, something still watched. In the deep dark of uncharted space, a shape moved. It had no name, no form that sensors could understand. It had only silence and interest. Humanity had done something rare. They had fought like monsters, but stopped like beings with souls. And the ancient watcher, whatever it was, felt curiosity stir for the first time in centuries. Aboard the Aegis I, Captain Mara sat alone in the observation bay. The stars were quiet. The ship was still. Her crew rested. But her mind did not. On her screen was a file marked Unknown Entity Contact Echo. One dot. No one knew what it was. No one knew what it wanted. But everyone on the fleet had felt the same chill. It's something far older than the Varnic was awake. Now. Mara whispered, "Did we end one war, just to start another?" Earth's council debates back on Earth. Leaders gathered in a secure chamber beneath the old UN tower. They had just witnessed the most powerful response ever launched by humanity. And now they faced something they didn't expect a quiet galaxy. No threats, no warnings. Just watching. Are we safe now? One asked. No, said the defense minister. We are seen now. That's more dangerous than war. Another asked, do we try to contact it? The room fell silent. Then someone finally answered, if it wants to talk, it will. Until then, we prepare. For peace or for something worse. A signal in the silence. 3 days after the fleet returned, an unknown signal hit Earth's listening station near Neptune. It wasn't Vanak. It wasn't human. It was a short sentence, written in ancient Terran script, something no alien could have known. You burned with fury, but stopped with honor. Scientists were confused. Military officials were alarmed. But others, like Mara and Joel, saw it differently. This wasn't a threat. It was recognition. Commander Joel reflects inside Stormpiercer. Now docked above Earth, Joel stood by a large viewport. He looked down at the planet, his home, still healing. He had seen cities fall, then rise. He had seen aliens beg for mercy. And he had given an order that would haunt him for years. Fire. Then don't. He had tasted power and chosen restraint. Myra walked up beside him. The galaxy won't forget what we did. He nodded. They're not supposed to. She added, but they'll also remember that we stopped. That, Joel said, is what makes us human. A quiet visit late at night. Mara received a strange transmission. It wasn't military. It wasn't official. It came from a small outpost ship, the kind used by traders and explorers. They had picked up something strange on the edge of space. A piece of metal, floating alone, cold, unpowered, but ancient. On its side, a symbol was carved into the hull, a spiral of stars, and a single human hand. Mara blinked. That was the same symbol from the visions before the entity vanished. She ordered the outpost to bring it in. Carefully, the Spiral Legacy scientists examined the object. It wasn't built by humans. Its alloy was unknown. It had no power source. But inside, they found something unexpected. A drawing. Simple, like something made by a child. It showed a group of humans standing in front of something enormous and shadowy. And below the image were these words, asterisk, asterisk, one day, you will meet us. When you're ready, asterisk, asterisk. And so, humanity waits. Earth had faced war. Earth had faced loss. But now it faced something bigger than war. Legacy. Would they be feared? Or respected? Would they burn more worlds? Or help rebuild them? The Black Fleet was parked in orbit, still ready, still silent. But for now, Earth had made its choice. Fury when needed, mercy when deserved, and somewhere in the darkness, the stars whispered approval. Asterisk and humanity stood alone. The war with the Varnic was over. There was no treaty, no handshake, just silence and scars. Earth had not only won, it had survived, and it had shown its strength to the stars. But victory came with A cost. Cities still burned. Names were still etched into walls of remembrance. And families still stood by empty chairs at dinner. Humanity, for all its rage, had never asked for war. But when war came, it replied in a language the galaxy would never forget. The return home. The Black Fleet re-entered Earth's atmosphere in quiet formation. Crowds gathered everywhere on rooftops, in fields, beside rivers. They didn't cheer. They didn't chant. They watched, because the return of the fleet wasn't just about pride. It was a warning. A message to every star system, every empire, every alien who once called humanity soft. This is what happens when you hurt us. And this is what we become when we're left no choice. Memorial in New London, on the same ground where the first bombs had fallen. A new monument stood. It was not tall. Not shining. Just a stone wall with names, thousands of names. A child walked up to it, holding a small flower. His mother whispered, "Put it next to your father's name." The boy did. Above the wall were the words, asterisk, asterisk, they bombed Earth. We forgave the people, but the lesson was etched in fire. Asterisk, asterisk, Council of Species. In the weeks that followed, alien leaders gathered for the first time in years. Not to fight, not to boast. But to ask the same question. What do we do about Earth? Some wanted sanctions. Others feared retaliation. But one quiet voice, an elder from a peaceful world, spoke up. They didn't destroy the Varnak people. They didn't wipe out the stars. They stopped. That is not the behavior of monsters. That is the behavior of something more. Something. Rising. The room fell silent, because deep down they all knew it. Earth had changed the balance forever. Quiet conversation high above Earth, on the deck of Stormpiercer. Joel and Mara met again. No ranks. No speeches. Just two tired souls who had seen too much. Do you think we did the right thing? Mara asked quietly. Joel looked out at the stars. We showed them what happens when they cross the line. She nodded. And now they know what we're capable of, but also what we're not, Joel added. We could have destroyed their world. We didn't. Mara folded her arms. We made them tremble. But we also made them think. Joel smiled slightly. That might be more powerful than any weapon. The last transmission weeks later, Earth sent one last signal into the galaxy. Beacon. A simple repeating message. Not a threat, just a truth. We are from Earth. We will defend ourselves. We will never strike first, but if attacked, we end it. We are human. Remember us. It traveled past stars, planets, and empires. Some feared it. Some honored it. A few tried to ignore it, but none could forget it. And far away, in a place beyond known space, the ancient entity watched Earth's message drift by. It turned, moved, through dimensions unseen, and whispered across the void. They are ready. Then it vanished into blackness, leaving behind only echoes. Because humanity had passed. A test it didn't even know it was taking. It had been hurt. It had been pushed. It had stood tall. And now, the galaxy would never be the same. Asterisk.